It's another beautiful Sunday afternoon. This is Rubbin Minds. Welcome. My name is Ebuka Obiuchendu. Yes, you're watching Rubbin Minds. I know I'm dressed a little unusually. I'm usually in a suit or in a kaftan with a hat or something like that. But yeah, things have changed today because we are almost celebrating. I want to say celebrating, but I know we're not quite there, even though I know we're there already. If you follow the Nigerian Professional League by any chance, you know that today is the final day of games. And Enugu Rangers International of Enugu, the team I support, is about to win the Nigerian Professional Football League for the first time in 32 years. 32 years. Anybody who's a fan of Nigerian football knows how much of a task it has been for Rangers fans and players and members of the club to get to this point. So it's an exciting day for us. Most people are saying, well, there's still a mathematical chance that we won't win it. But to hell with everybody who's saying that, because I know finally, Rangers are going to be champions today. I did tweet a couple of weeks ago that if we won the league, I was going to host this show in my jersey. I'm like, well, why wait for us to win it? Even if we don't win it today, it's been an amazing season, to be very honest, and why not celebrate the club? Thanks to everybody at the team there who sent me this amazing jersey, and I'm just looking forward to the match. It's going to be starting at 4 o'clock today. So by 6 p.m. today, for the first time in 32 years, we'll be lifting a trophy at the Nnamdi Azikiwe Stadium, or the Cathedral, like we call it these days, in Enugu. We're going to be starting, of course, the show today with the Nigerian Professional Football League and all of the things around there. I have here with me Jimmy Ogunlana. Thanks for being here today.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to be here, and especially when you have Rangers almost winning the NPFL after 32 years. A lot has been said about how traditional teams should come to the party and, you know, do the needful. We've seen teams like stationery stores try to come back after all the debacles they had been through. We've seen 3SC not being able to do it. We've seen a lot more teams that, you know, try to be in the mix. But you also recall the fact that some teams have become traditional teams, so to say. Kano Pillars, Enyimba, they're not done too well this season. But for Rangers, you have to say, if after 6 p.m. today, you hear a chant of Oli, Rangers International, another champion, then it's got to be deserved, especially when you had a lot of the matches shown on TV. And that's exactly what we had been saying. We need more matches on TV, because that's when you start to justify the fact that you've got a team like Rangers International, very, very expressive on the field, very exciting football philosophy by Mama Pakabo, the coach. Very fantastic set of players like Godwin Aguda, Chinozo Ebuchelam, Obinna Momobodo. They are done quite well for themselves. You had likes of Oke Odita doing quite well all through the season.
Bobby Clement. I mean, it's got to be a season that we have to ask ourselves. Yes, we've recorded a lot of successes when it comes to the display on the pitch. But then again, there's still been some issues for us to talk about. We'll talk about the issues, but I want to still talk about Rangers. I mean, only rightfully so. And I know I'm going to be very biased while talking about this. But I mean, we know Rangers hasn't become confirmed champions yet. We still need a point to win it. Or even if we lose today, I think Rivers United have to lose by at least 4 or 5-0.
Exactly.
Have to win by 4 or 5 goals.
By 4 goals.
Away in Akwa
United. Something you don't see happening.
Yeah, a place they haven't won since 2007, I think, from what I hear. So it's pretty much concluded. But I mean, we're not going to start celebrating yet. But I mean, looking at the season, is there any team more deserving so far? I mean, like you've seen most of the games this season, I want to believe.
Well, I think if you consider the fact that Rangers, a lot of the matches, I keep saying a lot of the matches have been shown on TV. People ask, what exactly is the impact of TV when it comes to matches? Officiating usually is fairer than games you're not so sure. That's why if you ask me how many matches were shown of Wiki Torres playing, you know, so some of these things have got its own effect. So I think Rangers, we've seen Rangers, they've been consistent. They've had to come back several times. There have been times when they have been toppled by Rangers United. Wiki Torres, toppled by Rivers United. At a point in time, it was Rivers United doing quite well. Stanley Guma had been given a 3-match ultimatum at a point in time. Then from then on, I mean, it did quite well to bring the team to the front burner of our discourse. At a point in time, they were leading. Rangers were, you know, conceding goals at plenty, also scoring goals. But you can see for the consistency, they are well deserving of every plaudit you want to pass the way. Because, I mean, if you look at how they have set up, even the commercials, when you come to checking out what they were able to do at the start of the season, you had something like Rangers popcorn all of a sudden, and people were like, oh, you're having a club thinking innovatively how they can,
Then they introduced the Friday night games.
Introducing the Friday night games, they were always there. And what it does to you is a lot of fans are going to come into the stadium.
Yeah.
They're going to watch matches. And, one thing that the LNC got right was trying not to compete on several fronts with EPL, with La Liga.
Yeah, so
have your games on Saturday.
They moved a lot of their games to Sundays,
to Friday and Sunday. I mean,
yes.
fantastic for them, and they are done well, and that's the result we are having now. A lot of people are in Enugu now. All the hotels are booked, and that's exactly what we are saying.
Yeah.
The frenzy should be about Nigerian football. The frenzy should be about how we can repackage our football, how we can turn it into a commercial business that we're proud of.
Yes.
That's exactly the key.
So besides the TV playing a role, of course, in Rangers' performance, I mean, looking at the team itself, let's start with the coach, Imama, who everybody has said has been phenomenal this season. He has probably been the biggest difference in the team. Now, of course, we have Chisomi Buchulam, Obi Nawobodo. These are guys who have been phenomenal. Obi Nawobodo is probably the player of the season for the league.
It's got to be for me.
Of course, Bobby Clement, we have all these players who have...
Yes, exactly.
The attacking style of football has just been unbelievable, hasn't it?
Very expressive when you look at how they've always tried to express themselves on the pitch. And when you come against teams across a season where when you go to any away ground, you've got to give your all to even try to pick a point, especially when it's always seen as if you go to an away ground, you probably will not even get a point. If you get a point, you're lucky. But the Rangers team always have a way of exposing teams that are not good enough. They go there, expressive, attacking football. The philosophy by Imama, fantastic. I mean, I look at Imama, I think is one of the, one of the coaches, one of the few coaches in Nigeria that I could say could actually lead Nigeria out of the doldrums right now.
And he's so calm at it.
He's so calm. I mean, even when it talks, when it seems he's gloating, you can just see that he understands the game, he understands the dynamics, and if given the chance, these are the kind of coaches that we need. That's exactly what I'm saying about Imama. Fantastic coach.
Yeah, you mentioned traditional clubs there, and let's move away from Rangers for a bit now. Look at the league as a whole now. What other teams have done? I mean, Wiki, of course, have done quite well. Rivers United, Ifeanyi FC came out of nowhere.
They are
contending for continental football as
they
well.
also spend a lot of money.
They spend a lot of money. They have a few Brazilians here and there, trying to do things differently for the most part.
Well, I think it would be nice to see Ifeanyi on the continent, especially because of what they bring to the game right about now.
With regards to money.
But I mean, yes, regards to money and all that. But also when you consider the fact that several of the matches that they have been involved in, there have been controversies.
Yes.
You begin to ask yourself.
They've had a few bans as well.
So the bans,
fines and all of
the
that.
chairman had been involved and all that. But I think it's been a lot more calmer the way he's been going about the business. And that's exactly what we are saying. If it could be calm, if you could allow the business to get the job done on the business from without interfering on the individual level, then it would be fantastic for us to have private clubs, because you look at what happened to Giwa, we want private clubs to come fully, into the game and get things done. It should not really be. We are celebrating Rangers, but Rangers is being funded by government.
Yes.
We need to have more of the private sector coming. Even if it's got to be collaboration, the government and the private bodies collaborating to ensure that some of these traditional clubs get out of the doldrums. It will be fantastic. 3FC at a point in time was talking with somebody that was interested in having shares or maybe buying up the club, but the bottlenecks had been there, so it wasn't going to happen.
You talk about business, then before we even talk about private ownership, we're talking about merchandising, for example. I'm wearing a Rangers jersey today. A lot of people who have seen me wear it today will be like, where did you get it from? So you have people who are actually interested in owning some of these things, but don't even know how to go about it. And the Rangers is trying to start this now, replica jerseys for fans to buy. Canopilas have done it for a while. I think they even have a store at the Sani Abacha Stadium. It's not something that even the state government should start looking at to make money from.
I think it's an indictment, a damning indictment on the football administrators we've got. You have 20 clubs. These 20 clubs should have a way of selling merchandise. It's not as if they don't know it.
Jerseys, flags, hats.
I think at times they focus on, the needless things, and leave those ones that actually can fetch money for them.
Yeah.
Look at merchandise, look at Canopilas. For a long while they have been doing it. Enyimba has started something like that. But Rangers should use this as a pivot. It's got to be a pivot scheme for them to really, really come out. If you consider the fact that Rangers are done quite well this season, everybody's talking about Rangers, everybody they all had gone to Enugu to celebrate the possible coronation of Rangers, then what exactly are they going to do to make sure they milk it. They've got to milk this opportunity to ensure that after all this, we have merchandise. You got a Rangers jersey on. What stops me from having mine? What stops everybody around you from having that? From working in somewhere, looking at the likes of maybe Nwobodo, Obina Nwobodo, buy the jerseys. That's how our Nigerian players can actually, be well recognized. A lot of people, they hear about Obina Nwobodo. They don't know him facially. That's why you have a lot of matches that we play these days as a Nigerian team, national team. You see a lot of players, you don't even know them.
You just know the name.
You'll be hearing, this is the player that I've been talking about. They talked about this player. It's good. Yeah. But it's because we've not tried to make these players brands, and that's exactly what the football administrators should be doing. It should be less about them and more about the players. The players are the protagonists. We should be talking more about the welfare of these players, because if they're not well paid, then we always are going to, recourse to talking about why the Nigerian Premier League is not as fantastic as it should be. Yeah. Fantastic what we've had all season long, but we should always at every point in time talk about the welfare of players, because if they are not well fed, yes, to go on the field to get it. At a point in time, Rangers have not been doing very well in terms of how the players have been faring. But right now, they're a lot more motivated. Yeah. I mean, if the governor can...
It has a lot to do with finances in the past.
It has a lot in terms of financing. Yeah. But it also looks like the governmental bodies, they have a way of saying, if you're not performing at the highest level, we're not going to encourage you.
Yeah.
But then again, these players have got families to feed.
And you have to support them. You talk about milking, then I want to talk about the Super Eagles now. The coach Gennaro has released his team list, of course, for the Zambia match. And we've had a pretty interesting season for the National League. They even went on a tour some time ago to the La Liga. Is it something you start looking at? I mean, the team is almost filled with foreign-based players. Are these local boys not as good?
Well, I think that's always going to be something up for discussion. Personally, I feel that we should not get carried away. We have a lot of our players, a lot of our attackers that are doing quite well. Victor Moses, Ideye, Anacho, Igalo, doing quite well. But when you talk about the team gelling to play against African opposition, how well do we fare?
Yeah.
That's exactly why I would have thought this new coach will learn from what Stephen Keshi has been able to do, bringing in 17 rookies to gel and win the Nation Cup. I mean, you cannot just dissociate yourself from how somebody had accomplished his own feat and say you want to bring your own style, you want to make use of players that are abroad. We're going to play against African opposition. You're going to play against the Zambians. Our players are going to be very cautious of incurring injuries, because once they get injured, it becomes a very major scare for them. They don't want to lose their places. When they ought to be executing club assignments, they had lost, they had gotten injured playing for the national team. They really don't want that. Yeah. So why don't we try? We're talking about Rangers today. We're talking about Wiki Tourist. We're talking about Rivers United. They are fantastic players. The players are the top echelon of the league. Why are we not encouraging these players from this, hegemony of clubs that are fantastic on our front? Yeah. Get these players to gel together. Let's have a team that we can call up at any point in time. We will save more money. You can't be calling up foreign-based players at every point in time. You're complaining about money, to get them return tickets and all that. It's time for us to start looking at these things. Let's buy local. Let's start encouraging our local-based players.
Very quick now before we go, who's going to win the league this evening?
It's got to be Rangers.
Thank you very
much. Rangers.
I just wanted to say that. Thank you very much.
Pleasure to be here.
Thank you very much. We're going to take a quick break now. When we come back, we'll be talking more right here on Rubbin Minds. Please make sure you do follow the Nigerian League. The matches are on at 4 p.m. today. Support Rangers. I'll see you in a moment.